Northern Kentucky doctor killed himself. He was facing the accusation of overprescribing opiates, resulting in several deaths. Now, as court cases continue against him, vastly differing opinions are emerging of his medical practice. 9 on Your Side reporter Tom McKee is live in Covington with both sides of this story. Tom?
Well, Clyde, right you are. There are two issues here. Was Dr. Gary Shear well ahead of his time in dealing with the now heroin epidemic in Northern Kentucky? Or was he engaged in malpractice, overprescribing opiates that some say contributed to the deaths of 15 people? Now with his passing, the courts here in Covington and the federal courthouse and Boone Circuit Court in Burlington are going to have to decide. These are the last public images of Dr. Gary Shear as he testified before the Kentucky Board of Medical Licensing this week to try and get his physician's license back. It was revoked after his Florence office was raided by federal agents in April of 2012. Attorney Bob Sanders was with him for the hearing and says experts from the board supported the doctor.
Dr. Shear went to extraordinary lengths to care for his patients. Dr. Shear should be commended for doing such a wonderful job. And my favorite, this was no pill mill.
Sanders says Dr. Shear was way ahead of his time in dealing with the heroin problem in Northern Kentucky.
I think it was unfortunate that a lot of people misunderstood and misinterpreted what Dr. Shear was doing when he was dealing with heroin addicts and treating heroin addicts and trying to head off the epidemic that we're now dealing with in our community.
That's not how Chris Roach sees things. He's the attorney representing the families of 11 patients of Dr. Shear who claims their deaths were tied to overprescribing opiates. He wouldn't comment on the physician's death other than to say,
"We are working with opposing counsel to hold the case in abeyance until," which basically just means put the case on pause until they're able to set up an estate so that the case can continue.
However, Sanders says
the expert for the board testified that nothing Dr. Shear did or failed to do caused any injury or harm to any patient. Nothing Dr. Shear did or failed to do contributed in any way to the death of a single patient.
Now, Sanders told me he thinks these suits are all going to be dismissed. I reached out to the families involved in those lawsuits today, but on the advice of their attorney, they all declined to comment. Tom McKee, 9 on Your Side, live in Covington.
Thank you, Tom.